Hold on real quick. Sorry about that. All right, what's today? Oh my God, this is old. Give me today's thing.
What do you want, the regular meeting?
Yeah, yes. Where did I get this from? April 19th. Oh my God. Okay, I'll pick it up. Okay, I'll move it. All right, thank you. First of all, I want to say good evening. At this point, I will be reporting out on the closed session. The City Council voted 3-2 to appoint Mike Taylor as the interim police chief, and the dissenting votes were Councilmember Monica Garcia and I, Manuel Lozano, voted against that appointment, and it was approved by Vice Mayor Susan Rubio, Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco, and Councilmember Cruz Baca. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and close the study session. That is my motion.
Second.
Second. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. All right, so at this point, I'd like to open up this is the wrong one. You have the 7 o'clock? Okay. What do you need? I need the agenda. All right, thank you. All right, sorry about that. All right, so at this point, I'd like to open up the Baldwin Park City Council special meeting. Today is May the 3rd, 2017, and the time is 6:15. At this point, excuse me, sorry about that, 7:15. Thank you very much. All right, so at this point, I will ask Pastor Flores to lead us in an invocation. So I will ask all those that are able to do so to come up at this time. Please stand. Thank you.
I had already asked Pastor Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's a great privilege to open up the meeting with prayer. I do want to recognize tomorrow's National Day of Prayer, and we do have other pastors here in the audience as well, too, including Pastor Jackson, who's probably the longest-running pastor in our city as well, too. So I want to invite him to come up and pray with me.
Sure, come on up.
And just
Pastor
as a show of solidarity, we want to ask prayer over tonight, and all of you as well, that God may govern and lead you all making right decisions. Leading prayer, and I'll follow up.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you right now in the name of the Lord. We pray. We thank you, first of all, for Baldwin Park and all of those that are working to make Baldwin Park a great city. And like Pastor Flores said, let me have your hand here, that we as ministers and the church of the different denominations work together hand in hand with one another. And so shall the city council work hand in hand with one another to bring solidarity. And also the school district, Lord God, and looking around the room, seeing many young people around the room, that your mighty hand will be up on them as they go to school with the oppositions that are out there with the gangs and the drugs, that all of these things will be overcome, and that you will keep them busy, keep their minds, and keep a goal of further education. We look at our police department, oh God, and we're asking you, put your hand upon that, but let it be solidarity there in our police department. They're out to serve and protect. Give them the wisdom and knowledge and understanding and how to, whenever to do what it needs to be done. We're asking you also, Father, to look upon our businesses and our churches, Lord God, that your hand will be up on us during this terrible times that we are in. And also, Father, the soldiers that are abroad to keep this nation safe. And give our president as well as our city council wisdom and knowledge and understanding in how to run the city of Baldwin Park and how to run this nation over our president. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Amen. Thank you. Pastor
Por favor,
Flores? Yes.
Gracias, Señor, por este momento y esta oportunidad para participar en este concilio. Ayuda a la ciudad y el liderazgo aquí, Señor, y todo es para la honra y la gloria del Señor. En el nombre de Cristo Jesús. Amén.
Amen. Gracias. Thank you. At this point, we're going to face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. If you can have a seat at this point. Council members wishing to close on anyone's behalf? All right, so if not at this point, just just want to close on behalf of Frances Ayala, Miss Gina Ayala, school teacher at Baldwin Park, and who passed away. Frances Ayala is a lifelong resident of Colton, California, passed last Tuesday from complications of hip surgery. She was 92 years old and survived by her husband, Salvador Ayala, 2 daughters, Mary Frances and Anne Marie, their husbands, and several other grandchildren. Ms. Ayala will be laid to rest with services in Colton, California. So our deepest condolences goes out to Ms. Gina Ayala and her family in Colton, which they have, the family goes back to 100 years in Colton, the history. All right, so at this point, I will ask our city treasurer, Maria Contreras, will conduct a roll call.
Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches a todos y bienvenidos. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Present.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco.
Present.
Mayor Protem Susan Rubio.
Present.
Mayor Manuel Lozano.
Present. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, so this afternoon we had a big event over at the Community Center where we recognize 2 of our top seniors and, of course, other former recipients of the Senior Citizen of the Year for the City of Baldwin Park. So I will go ahead and, why don't we actually go down, let me have Rita M. Garcia, and we'll also have Rosemary Linares, if they could make their way up to the the dais. Come on up here.
It is a stage.
Yeah, you're right. Then we'll go down to hand out the others that we have here.
I just want to say briefly that earlier today it was announced Rita Garcia is part of the Women's Auxiliary with the American Veterans and does a lot of packages and so forth that she takes to the VA hospital and the USO. I'm going to be brief. And then Rosemary, who's my cousin, she knits, she helps out and volunteers at the senior center, but she also knits these really beautiful little bonnets or hats for the ladies or for the people at City of Hope that are going through chemo and different treatments. So let's give them a big round of applause for all the hours of volunteerism.
All righty. I'll go ahead and read the first one, which is Rosemary Linares, Senior Citizen of the Year, Baldwin Park Adult and Community Education. Rosemary is a resident of Baldwin Park for 49 years. She and her husband, Tony, moved to Baldwin Park right after they got married. Rosemary and Tony have been married 49 years as well. Wow. And have 1 daughter, Rebecca Marie, and a son-in-law, Joseph, and 3 grandchildren, Samantha, 16, Katrina, 14, and Priscilla, 9. Rosemary retired from Target, where she worked for 14 years. After her retirement, her dedication was to get involved in her community and volunteer. She presently is enrolled in one of our older adult general art class. One of her projects over the last several years is to croquet hat for chemo patients at the City of Hope and Kaiser. She has coordinated several ladies who participated in this project, and they deliver handmade caps twice a year to the hospital. Along with her project, she still finds time to volunteer at our annual health fair, holiday food basket programs, and holiday events. She also volunteers her time with seniors who are in need and help with coordinating social activities at senior centers. Rosemary always has a smile and makes everyone she is in contact with feel welcome and special. She's a dedicated person and living her retirement years helping others with tireless dedication and leadership. Rosemary is truly deserving to be one of this year's honoree. And before I go on, yes. So just as we stated this afternoon, Councilmember Cruz Baca and I attended the event where there were literally hundreds of seniors there. We're going to place their names in the marquee, if they're not already, and then also the newsletter that goes out to 75,000 residents in the city of Baldwin Park. So at this point, Rosemary Linares, present you with the certificate. Thank you. Share some words. Come on up here.
Thank you so much, and for my family, my friends, and everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to get a picture. All right. All right. The next one that we have is for Rita M. Garcia. Come on up here, Rita. Rita M. Garcia as a senior of the year to present the Julia McNeil Senior Center. Ms. Garcia has lived in Baldwin Park since 1973 and worked for the Baldwin Park Unified School District for 30 years as an ESL teacher. Ms. Garcia has a passion for helping others and has indeed made differences in the city and surrounding cities by volunteering in various capacities since 1973. Ms. Garcia has served as a Cub Scout Den mother, secured donations for San Gabriel Valley Mental Health and the American Veterans War VFW, served as the treasurer for the Baldwin Park AMVETS for 16 years, and currently fundraising collections, perishable items donated to the USO. In her spare time, Ms. Garcia acts as an award chairperson for the state office AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary and is also an active member of the Baldwin Park Women's Club. Ms. Garcia enjoys playing weekly bingo. Wow. At the Julia McNeil Senior Center, she has 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. So congratulations on behalf of the City of Baldwin Park.
What can I say other than it's a great honor? Something I did not expect. And thank you, my children, my family, for being here with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm gonna take this thing right here. I'm gonna keep this thing. All right, we're gonna get our picture. Can you go on my camera? Okay, let's all get right here. We're gonna get our picture.
No, back here against us.
Yeah, the guy missed the hub. Where's Scotty?
Right there in front of you.
Okay. Here we go. All righty, here we go. Right here in the hub. Come on in, everyone. Closer, please. All right, taconazo. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, I know. Wondering what happened.
No, not them. Not them.
That's the copy.
Oh, that's different. That's the little girl from the poppy.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, that's different. That's the poppy little girl.
Oh, okay, I'm glad you told me that. Oh, yeah, okay.
If we skipped it.
All right, so let's,
Don't we want to do the national?
yeah, I guess we could do that. All right, so at this point, we're going to do the annual Miss Poppy 2017. So let's bring up Teresa Powder. I know, is she here? She's always here every year.
And Mayor, we also have a representative from Assemblymember Blanca Rubio that's going to be giving some certificates as well to Miss Poppy.
Absolutely, thank you. Is she here? She's here. Oh, she's here every year. They usually bring her.
Oh, she's not here.
Oh, shucks. Okay, if she walks in,
We'll do it.
then we'll go and back into the agenda for that. All righty. Okay, so the third item that we have is we have the presentation of certificates in recognition of Mai Morris for her selection as the Teacher of the Year at the Baldwin Park Adult and Community School. Is she here? Yeah. Come on up, Mike. Yes, Mike, come on up here. Let our teacher, Miss Mai, come up here. Now, if you don't know Miss Mai, just to let everyone know, a long-term resident of the city of Baldwin Park, and she's extremely well-known throughout the whole city. All right. Let me read your certificate, and then we'll have you say some words. All right, so it reads, Mai Morris, in recognition of your outstanding service to the Baldwin Park Unified School District and for your leadership and dedication to the students, staff, and parents of the Baldwin Park Adult and Community Education School. The City of Baldwin Park thanks you for your commitment in serving our community. So I want to thank you, Mai, for everything you do for the City of Baldwin Park, and it goes back decades. So thank you very much. I know you're going to continue doing good because you're very popular and everyone wants you back as well.
Wow, thank you so very much.
Thank you. We're going to get our picture. Let's come back here. What's that? Oh, my God, that's right. Vero, your last name. Huh? Okay, so we have Veronica Lopez from our State Assembly member Blanca Rubio's office presenting a certificate. Thank you. Okay, come on up here.
Thank you so very much. Wow, thank you.
May, thank you so much for your dedication and commitment that you provide to the students, to the adult students at the Adult Center. You're an inspiration. And like I said this earlier at the ceremony for Seniors of the Year, again, you're a total inspiration for us young people. So, on behalf of Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, congratulations and thank you.
Well, I thank you so very much. Thank you very much.
You want to share some words? Yes.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Well, first I want to say thank you so much for the Mayor Lozano and Riaz at Old Spirit, and thank you very much for my supervisor, Mr. John Kurz and Denise Torres right here, and everybody. I even thank you for my students. They are mostly in here also. So it's very much a thank you to everybody for coming today. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's right. We'll show both of them. Here we go.
We invite Vero to take a picture with them.
Yes, absolutely. Come on in.
Come on so you can take
Okay.
this one with that.
Here, come on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Manny, let me put the principal one here. Oh, man. Is this mine? No. This ain't mine. I use this camera. I was using your camera. Just no. Okay. All right. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go down on.
For the older Americans, I have a proclamation.
Yeah, you know what? This.
You need to call all the older Americans.
Let's do it from down there because Josie.
Oh, but this is for the older Americans.
Yeah. All right. Read it from here. Go ahead and read it from here.
The following proclamation is for Older Americans Month, and I want to acknowledge all the seniors, including myself, that are here. So it's from the city of Baldwin Park, and it's older Americans are among our greatest treasures, providing invaluable links to the past and wise counsel for the future. And the gift of longevity will ensure that today's and tomorrow's seniors will continue making significant contributions to our families by giving of themselves freely and by sharing the wisdom and experience. And it is important to acknowledge the contributions older individuals have made to our economic well-being, in our communities and in the workplace through civic leadership and mentoring. And the seniors of tomorrow will be increasingly multicultural and multi-generational, more diverse socially, ethically, and economically than past generations. And an expanding elder population will profoundly impact every facet of our lives, redefining our ideas of work, retirement, and leisure, altering our housing and living arrangements, challenging our healthcare systems, reshaping our economy, and altering social and public policy. And the opportunities and challenges that await us as we begin a new chapter in human history require our continued commitment to the goal of ensuring that our senior citizens may enjoy active, productive, and healthy lives, and do so independently, safely, and with dignity for as long as they choose. And the declaration of Older Americans Month coincides with the recognition of May as Older Americans Month by the President of the United States, with this year's national theme being Age Out Loud, Now therefore, Mayor Lozano, the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio, Council Members Monica Garcia, Ricardo Pacheco, and myself, Cruz Baca, City Treasurer Maria Contreras, City Clerk Alejandra Avila, do hereby proclaim May 2017 as Older American Month and urge all residents to participate in appreciation ceremonies honoring those men and women. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Awesome. Let's go on down there.
No, the flowers are for the other people.
Isn't that the flowers? Better get my glasses. You want? Hey, man. All righty. That's right. All right.
Yes.
Okay. One, two, one, two. All right. We're going to hand out these certificates. Hold on. That's mine, right? That's mine. All righty. We're going to hand out certificates recognition. The first one that we have is for Josie Rivera, 32nd District Women of the Award.
I know.
The next one we have is Jocelyn Lopez.
Oh, she did? Okay. Oh, good, okay. Yeah.
Lorraine O'Brien.
I know what they figured. It's it is stuffy. Yeah.
Excuse me, Monica. Excuse me.
Oh,
These are the honorees.
Okay.
I'm Maxine's mom.
Okay, we'll save this one. All right.
She's being recognized.
Yeah. How is it? Do you love it?
Oh, sorry. Okay, one thing. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, good to see you. Sure. I'm gonna stand back here. Monica, here.
Give me the poppy. Shannon, give me that proclamation.
Are we still going to do another one?
Huh? Yeah, we have one. Miss Poppy, here she is. Hello, she's getting bigger. Come on over. I think you're getting taller and taller. Thank you for being here. Okay, you are ready? You look like a poppy. The car will read it. All righty. Go ahead, get everyone's attention.
Okay, if I could have your attention, we have one more proclamation. It's for Poppy of the Month for May 2017. And it reads, who's this being given? Oh, okay, here's our Poppy of the Awards. If you could stand next to Susan here, please. And this award was from the battlefields of World War I, weary soldiers brought home the memory of barren landscape transformed by wild poppies, red as the blood and had soaked the soil. By the miracle of nature, the spirit of their lost comrades live on. And whereas the poppy become a symbol of the sacrifice of lives in war and represent the hope that none had died in vain, the American Legion Auxiliary Poppy has continued to bloom for the casualties of 4 wars. Its petals of paper bond together for veterans by veterans, reminding Americans each year that the men and women who have served and died for their country deserve to be remembered, and is where Poppy Day has become a familiar tradition in almost every American community. This distribution of bright red memorial flower to the public is one of the oldest and most widely recognized programs of the American Legion Auxiliary. And whereas America has the land of freedom and preserved and protected willingly and freely by millions who have answered the call to arms and have died on the field of battle. And whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind American annually of this depth through the distribution of memorial flower, the poppy. Now, therefore, Mayor Lozano, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio, Council Members Cruz Baca, Monica Garcia, Ricardo Pacheco, our City Treasurer Maria Contreras, and the City Clerk Alejandra Avila, do hereby proclaim 2017 as Poppy Month, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy during Poppy Week and on Memorial Day. So presented by Mayor Lozano, Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio, Council Members Monica Garcia, Cruz Baca, Ricardo Pacheco, City Clerk Alejandra Avila, and Maria Contreras, our City Treasurer. Thank you very much, and give her a round of applause. Now, I think, yeah.
Bring it over here.
Hopefully she could reach it. How do we,
She was, how old were you
What was your name?
when you first came here? She was 7 years old. Okay, come on here.
Okay,
Let's have
come
her
on.
read it.
What
She's
was
going
your
to read it.
what was your name?
Teresa, well, powder.
Teresa?
Powder.
Teresa Powder? Okay, Teresa Powder? Did I say that correctly or no?
Let's have her say it. Let's have her
Okay,
say it on the mic here.
how do you say your name?
Teresa, but other people call me Powder, and then my last name's Pulliet.
Oh, okay.
All right. She's gonna
Okay,
go
so
and
she's
read-
going to read a few words, and she represents the auxiliary for doing the Poppy Month. Thank you. Go ahead.
In the World War I battlefields of Belgium, poppies grew wild amid the ravaged landscape. How could such a pretty little flower grow wild while surrounded by death and destruction? The overturned soils of battle enabled the poppy seeds to be covered, thus allowing them to grow and to forever serve as a reminder of the bloodshed during that and future wars. The poppy movement was inspired by the poem In Flanders Fields, written by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae of the Canadian Forces in 1915, before the United States entered World War I. Selling replicas of the original Flanders poppy originated in some of the Allied countries immediately after the armistice. Our American Legion and VFW Auxiliary distribute the poppies for donations, all proceeds to benefit disabled and needy veterans. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae's In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt on, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to from felling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, the poppies grow in Flanders fields. America's answer,
In America's answer. American answers.
Okay. America's answer to in Flanders fields. Rest ye in peace, ye Flanders dead. The fight that ye so bravely led, we've taken up, and we will keep true faith with you who lie asleep. Will each across to mark his bed in Flanders fields. Fear not that ye has died for naught. The torch ye threw to us we caught. 10,000,000 hands will hold it high, and freedom's light shall never die. We've learned the lesson that ye taught in Flanders fields.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get a picture up here.
Question that was proposed.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Poppy. There was a question that was proposed.
Yes.
How does she get chosen to be Ms. Poppy?
We actually, each unit, if they choose to have a Miss Poppy, they're actually elected and chosen and voted on in our units. So she is, this year, this is her second time as Miss Poppy. She's still considered Miss Junior Poppy. She's still only 11. But this year, she will also be our district Miss Poppy. And she will be going to, her Poppy will be going to the Department of California.
Oh, wow.
So she just came back from our American Legion convention, junior convention or conference, and she is the Department Auxiliary Junior. Let me say it right. She is now the honorary Department of California Junior Chaplain
Oh,
in
wow.
the state of California.
Congratulations. Let's get our picture. Let's move over here. Oh, yes, that's right. Veronica Lopez from our State Assembly member, Blanca Rubio, will share some words for you. Come on over here.
She can stay in the front. Well, congratulations, young lady. So proud.
Thank you.
Well, on behalf of Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, I'd like to say congratulations. May you have a successful reign. Okay, make us proud, okay? Thank you very much. This is presented today to Teresa Pelote.
Thank you.
All right, let's go get our picture. Come on. Thank you. No, it is not.
So make sure you write the date on this one, 16 and 17. So we're going to get the
How many we have? ¿Qué van?
See, he's giving you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, all righty. All right, so we're going to open up the public communication.
Have you ever had to use that button?
What about?
Oh, that's right.
It takes a while.
Hopefully never. You're not going to get together, okay?
What?
You're not going to get together.
Promise?
Yeah, I will.
I didn't swamp that word. Big time.
Well, while the mayor is getting ready, let me
Yes.
just say a few words real quick.
Go ahead.
She had to come up here because there's
Oh,
12 years worth of poppies on my dais, and she had to come and see it for herself. 12 years. She couldn't believe I kept them. I always wrap them around my microphone, and they're still here. So congratulations, Miss Poppy, and thank you for always coming every year. We're very proud of you.
All righty. Want to first of all say good evening to everyone. At this point, I will open up the public communication. Anyone wishing to speak, please state your name, and you have approximately 3 minutes. Oh, we have one more? Oh, okay. You know what? Oh, hold on. Real quick, we do have something that has, how long is that going to take? All right. I'm going to go ahead and close up the public communication real quick. I did miss we had a presentation by, so at this point, regarding the medical cannabis and legislative impact on the municipality. So are you the individual? Okay. Where's Ahmad? Ahmad here? Okay, come on up, Ahmad, if you could.
Just quickly.
Ahmad, we're going to do this in about, hopefully you guys can do this in about 5 minutes.
Or less. Or can we put it at the end, Manny?
Well, after public comments, if you want to put comments.
Okay, you know what we'll do? Let's put it, I'll tell you what, Jim, I'm sorry about that. We're going to place it after the public communication, okay? And then I'll call you back up. All right, so at this point, I will reopen the public communication. If the gentleman in the center could come back up. Please state your name. You have approximately 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's really warm.
Good evening, fellow council and community members.
Good evening.
My name is Corinne Lopez. I am from California Mental Health Connection.
Yes, sir.
And we're here in support of our superstar therapist, Jocelyn Lopez, who was just awarded a certificate. And I just wanted to speak out for her because I feel that she has committed and dedicated a lot of time for the city and for our organization to expand and fulfill our goals. And I also wanted to take this time for a call to action for community sponsorship and support of our organization. Not many of you, or maybe many of you, do know that our organization is one of the few that is specializing in complex trauma, child abuse prevention, and many other community programs that are for our low-income, underserved community members. With that said, I would hope to familiarize all of your faces and continue to work with the city and the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, if you have any information you could drop off with the city clerk, I'd appreciate that card or something.
Sure.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Very important subject, by the way. Yes. Is the air on? Okay, I think we might want to leave the windows open, windows the door. All right, so at this point, we're going to move on with public communication. Please come up. Please state your name. You have approximately 5 minutes. Good evening. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio, and members of the City Council. My name is Ari Ruiz. I work for Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, who represents the East San Gabriel Valley in Sacramento. I just wanted to come let you know that the Assemblywoman is hosting several events throughout the 48th Assembly District, and in Saturday, May the 13th, she's coming to Baldwin Park to host her first State Resources Fair. Many of you guys here in the community oftentimes deal with a lot of the red tape that our state departments have, and we're going to be bringing you those departments to the city of Baldwin Park, which includes the DMV, Veteran Affairs. I know that many of you have called our office about the waiting times when you guys wait for the DMV. This would be a perfect opportunity for you guys to come down, meet the representatives, and get your work done. Mi nombre es Ari, estoy hablando de parte de la asambleísta Blanca Rubio, que le estamos invitando a que venga el sábado mayo 13 para que agarre recursos del Estado. Muchas veces nosotros nos desesperamos porque los departamentos no responden rápidamente, y esa es la oportunidad para ustedes, la comunidad, de conocer a todos los departamentos, especialmente del departamento de vehículos, que va a estar aquí en la comunidad. Es sábado, mayo 13, de 9 a 1 de la tarde en el Arts and Recreation Center en Baldwin Park. Y hay más información atrás, pero les consejo que vayan a agarrar sus recursos del Estado. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, moving along with public communication. Anyone wishing to speak, please state your name. You have approximately 3 minutes. Sergeant.
Good evening,
Yes.
Mayor, council members, members of the community, city staff. I apologize. I have this little scratch in my throat. I'm
Okay.
trying to get rid of it, so bear with me for a few moments. My name is Melissa Staley. I have been a member of the Baldwin Park Police Department for about 27 years. I am also a member of the Baldwin Park Police Management Association, which is made up of police department lieutenants and captains. I am here tonight speaking on behalf of the Baldwin Park Police Management Association. The Baldwin Park Police Management Association would like to express its full support to City Council members for their decision concerning Mr. Salcido's dismissal. We appreciate your staunch support of the men and women of this department throughout the years and look forward to working with you in moving the city and the department forward. And I thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the community. My name is Juan Ferreira. I'm with the National Latino Peace Officer Association Advocacy Group out of East Los Angeles. And on behalf of the NLPOA advocacy, I'd like to say that we oppose Chief Salcido's dismissal without cause, evaluation, or due process. After 5 weeks, it's quite evident that he's very popular in the community. He did a lot of great work in that community, evidenced by a lot of people here. And that in a time when so many things are going on in law enforcement, it's important that we develop those community ties. We're building partnerships and engaging our communities. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good evening.
Good evening, City Mayor, council members. My name is Luis Mateos. Good evening, public, community. And I'm a part of New Beginnings, and we are here in support of Chief David Salcido, and we also oppose his dismissal with no cause. And the reason that I'm here tonight is just to be able to express what has taken place while he was chief in the short 4 to 5 weeks. You know, our ministry has been here in the city of Baldwin Park for about 22 years now. I've been involved in the city of Baldwin Park doing outreach for about 13 plus years. And in that time frame, we've never had a personable chief that reaches out to us, that wants to know what's going on in the community, that wants to hear the people's voice, that wants to get included in what's going on day to day in the activities. You know, Chief David, what he did was he came in and he introduced himself. We've never had that much communication with the chief ever. But here he was, being very personable, being very reachable, returning phone calls, and just expressing how much he cared about the city of Baldwin Park and the heart that he had to make a difference in the community. So we're also here to say that, you know, we stand against the decision. And we'd like to express our voice and open up some kind of dialogue to where we can understand what happened, what took place. So far we're being told that it's something personable, it's behind closed doors, but there's really been no explanation for his dismissal. And we feel that we believe that we deserve an explanation. You know, as you look around, you see a lot of young people, you see a lot of middle-aged people, you see a lot of an older generation. One of the things about Chief David is that he made himself reachable in a way where when he would come and visit us and come and visit one of our services, or he'd stay around and talk to some of our church members, he drew people to him. And we need a chief like that. We need somebody that can be reachable. We need somebody that our young kids are not imposed to go and talk to. But what he did is that he actually did the opposite of that. He would introduce himself, he'd talk, he'd say, how can we help you? How can we partner with you, the church, other city organizations, other city programs? What can we do to make this city better? And that's the kind of chief that we need. So we're here to be able to say that whatever has to be done, whatever motion, I don't understand the procedure behind it, but whatever has to be done for him to be reinstated, we fully support that. And I deeply express that you guys would consider doing that, because we finally had a chief that the city was proud of, and we'd like for him to be back. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Lozano and council people and everybody here. My name is Dario Murillo. I represent Praise Chapel Christian Fellowship here in the city of Baldwin Park. And along with New Beginnings and everybody else here, I stand before you opposed by the decision to let Chief Salcido go. In the short time Chief Salcido was with us, he opened up the doors, the avenues. Our church holds homeless outreaches every 2 weeks throughout this city of Baldwin Park. Anywhere from Ramona on the 10 freeway all the way to the Food for Less and on down. And Chief Salcido opened up a bridge with resources and everything to where, and allowed police officers to come and join us in helping the homeless community. Yes, they're homeless, they live under the bridge and everything, but they still are people. And one thing that he did was he gave us the resources to open up places where we could take these people that are drug addicted or whatever and find them detox centers, to find them sober living homes, to where they're not out there shoplifting at the Walmart or the 99-cent store. They're not doing commercial burglaries anymore. They're not doing residential burglaries anymore. Now they're getting help. And he opened up that avenue. He never turned away a phone call. He opened up the doors to a lot of things. And that's the chief of police that we need. I think it was you, Mr. Pacheco, that made the statement that he became too popular too fast. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry, but I believe I read that.
That was my statement in a positive way, because I meant it.
Well, if he became too popular too fast, then I'll take that. But I think it was more that he became a commitment to the community. I remember when Mr. Lozano and him came and visited us at church that Sunday morning. And he stood there and says, I will make a commitment to this community. And he did that. And I ask that you all use wisdom and reinstate him to the position of chief of police, because that's the chief of police that we need. Someone that's out there hitting the streets and asking the community, what can we do for you? And I end it with this, and I ask each one of you, when was the last time you got to the streets and asked the people, what can we do for you? God bless you all.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, staff, and residents of Baldwin Park. My name is Cristina Larios. I'm the library manager at the Baldwin Park Library. I would like to announce to everybody here that during the month of May, we have Fine Forgiveness Month. So if anybody has any materials at home that they have not returned back to the library, you can bring them in and we will not charge you any overdue fees. If you have any existing overdue fees, we will forgive those as well. We want everybody back and using the library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, people of the community, Baldwin Park. We all love this city. We're all here in support of it, and we all want the best for our city. There's a lot of people wearing red today. There's a lot of people that support our police officers, but we don't support the decision that you guys made to let the police chief go. We don't understand the circumstances. I hope it wasn't just because he didn't answer his phone one day, you know what I mean, to somebody. But this guy, he came out to every single church, every single baseball game, every single organization, and let everybody know who he was, what he was, and how he can help. And he put that hand out and said he was a friend, not just a police officer, but a friend that can help better this community. And for some reason, I feel that some of you guys turned your back on him and just showed him the worst part of our city. And I'm very disappointed in that, and I really hope that we can bring him back. Another thing is our new police chief that's going to be, give me 1 second. Our new police chief that's going to be, 1 second, that's going to be temporary. I asked for a little bit of clarification on how far is temporary, because from what I read here on agenda number 8, he's still going to be collecting his retirement on top of getting his regular pay as a police chief. So if that's a temporary position, I ask how long is that going to be temporary for?
Okay, we'll answer it once public communication's over.
Okay. And then I really ask for you guys to reach deep down in your heart and see what a difference Chief Salcido did for the community, and how if in 5 weeks he had all these people that are coming out and speaking in his behalf, just imagine what a few years can do with his service to our community. Please consider that.
How y'all doing? Good? I wasn't going to, but I'm going to just put it on the table if you guys don't mind. Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm just going to be real quick. And I, too, am surprised what happened to this young man, Mr. Salcido. I knew him from left field. I didn't know him. I gave him a blessing one day. I ran into him in the hall, and he said, "I remember you." And I said, "You do?" I didn't remember him. And I said, "Why?" He says, "You gave me a blessing." In my opinion, I'm going to just share something really quick. I'm not a public speaker, so I'm kind of nervous. Psalm 28. People speak peace to their neighbors, but evil's in their heart. Back in the day, there was a song called Smiling Faces. Smiling faces show no traces of the evil that lurks within. They're sitting right next to you sometimes. Psalm 62. It says, "They only consult to cast him down from his high position. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly." I think we've all done that. I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I see things and I say, "Lord, forgive me. I shouldn't be." I'm not the just judge. I don't know who takes charge, who's next, I served the Marine Corps. I'm a veteran. I knew chain of command. All these brothers that get out there every day and do their work, God bless them. That's what I do. Because you know what? We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised tomorrow. Now, one more before I quit here. I should have wrote this down. I didn't do it. Hold on a second. Can you stop the clock?
No, it's going to keep. No, it's got to keep going, brother.
I just found it. Hold on a second. I'll be with you in a second. No, it's in the Word. Right here. This is deep. And I don't know if we're talking hate or anything, but it says here, "He who hates disguises it with his lips and lays up deceit with himself. When he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and whoever rolls a stone, it will roll back on him."
Amen.
And a good name will live on. A wicked name will rot and be forgotten. I met this brother.
All righty. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm usually here for somebody else, but this time I'm being selfish. I'm here as a concerned citizen. because I've met Captain Salcido personally, and I had an issue with our street being always got people hanging out where we didn't feel comfortable walking to our corner store. And he listened to us. He listened to me, especially because this is hard for me. I have a family member, a very close family member, that tried committing suicide, and the only way she can control herself is having walks in the evening or in the afternoon whenever she feels it. And I talked to him about people being there, and I started feeling safe because I started seeing a lot more police presence on our street. And now she does the walks, but sorry.
Okay.
Now I'm constantly texting her, "Where are you?" Before I was able to leave her by herself. Now we're seeing these people come back and hang out at our areas. That 1 month that month and a week that he was in office and in his position, we did see the difference in our street. We did see more police presence. We did see the police officers stop and even just talk to the kids that were walking in the street, to find out where they were going. And that made me feel good, letting my family member take her walks. Now I'm constantly texting her, and she's like, "I can't walk and control my anger or whatever she's going through if you constantly text me." So it's hard for me to let her go, but I'm hoping you guys will consider other people. I've also talked to other residents, and their main concern is their safety, as well as they're hearing rumors that something happened, that they offered him to do something and he refused, and that's why he's being let go. Another thing that they said is that somebody was too scared of what he can do. Another one is that I'm sorry, I'm trying to calm myself down. That some people just didn't like his popularity. I don't like hearing that stuff about our city. I don't like hearing that about you guys. But a lot of the residents have that belief that you guys are doing this for personal reasons. Like I said, I'm here for selfish reasons, and I hope you consider that.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving along with public communication. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City, staff. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Jason Adams. I'm president of the Baldwin Park Police Association. I've been for, I think this is my 4th year, and I have some prepared comments here, but our friend in the back just shared a biblical verse, and I don't even know what verse it is, but divided house will not stand. Divided house cannot stand. And the reason I'm here tonight is to make a statement of support from the association and offer a unified voice for the community, the city, and this council. We're united in a common objective to make the best community possible. And decisions of leadership and direction for our membership are guided by the wisdom of this council, and our obligation is to continue to support those decisions. And we hope that these decisions can ultimately bring things together. Our obligation as members of the police department and our police association is to serve the community in the best way possible. We've obligated ourselves to this city and the council in this service and strive to maintain these highest standards. We collectively understand that some of these decisions are made among the governing body of this community to move things in the best direction for the benefits of all the members of this community and the public safety that we've been trusted to provide. All these reasons for change are not always immediately apparent, but we trust that the decisions that are being made with this council are made in the overall best interest of our organization, this city, and the community that we serve. We also collectively trust in the system of rules and laws that protect our citizens or our members with the association who may feel that they've been treated unfairly. I know there's been some discussion about that. And our membership joins in any concern raised about our organization, trust the city, the system, the laws that hold us to a standard of performance to deal with these concerns and address these concerns appropriately. Our organization is proud to serve. The members of this organization are proud to serve this community, and any blemish upon our organization and our membership does a disservice to this organization and, more importantly, to the community of Baldwin Park that we serve. Lastly, we want to continue to build relationships with the city, the council, and just to seek the best directions and practices for this community and for our membership. We look forward to working together to move past this mark in our history and towards a very productive future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Dave Saldana. I didn't plan on coming up here, but first I want to thank the City Council and the city for honoring my mother, Rita Garcia, this evening. She has 4 proud children here tonight, and I just want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Secondly, as a member of the Executive Board of Baldwin Park National Little League, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, Monica Garcia, and we were also privileged to have Chief Salcedo that day with us. His presence was actually, it stood out. It stood out. His concern for the community, his concern for the children, especially of this community, he made known by speaking to all of us, spending the time with us. It was actually the first time I've ever seen a chief of police come to the Little League in the 11 years that I've been involved. So I was very impressed, and as well as the rest of the board that I know. Anyway, when I saw in the paper that he was no longer with us, I didn't understand. I still don't understand. If being involved and showing sincerity in the community, whether it be church groups, the city, its people, its population, its youth, is a bad thing, I'm waiting for an answer. I would love an explanation. Lastly, with that biblical verse that was used earlier, a house divided will not stand, it's not just a saying, it's a biblical truth, okay, from the highest cause, from God himself. So keep that in mind. It is truth. A house divided will not stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Joe Gallegos. I grew up in this city. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to fly a flag in Iraq for the city. That's how much I feel for the city. But there's a problem right now. Mr. Pacheco, Ms. Rubio, Ms. Baca, you have made decisions on your own based on whoever and not the decisions of this community, what the community's needs are. It is a shame that, again, you fire another Latino police chief. It's a shame that you're up there right now. That flag right there, I fought for that flag. And I've seen young men around me die for that flag. What does that mean? Equality, justice, and honor. You have removed a chief of police who has those qualities. And you don't know him. The paper says he's number 7, but you don't know him. You don't know what his background is, and you don't know what he brings. And Mr. Adams, who, I thought I heard your name there. You come up here and you say that you want to bring the community together. Well, those words that you just said came from Chief David Salcedo, bringing the community together. You're using what he's doing now that he's gone. As a concerned citizen, I hope that there's an investigation conducted at a state and federal level with the Ethical and Corruption Division. Mr. Pacheco, and all three of you that I mentioned your name, remember, you're not above the law. You're not above the law. Okay? And another thing, as a veteran of this United States, and because I'm concerned of what's going on here, I will be I will be going to my congressionals and I will be asking for them to do a congressional investigation on all three of you. Ms. Rubio, I hear you're going to be a senator, or want to be a senator, but I'll tell you something. With everything who I know and what's going on there, you will not get there because you can't even support this community for the benefit of the people. Remember that. California will not allow that. Thank you.
Hello, City Council, residents of Baldwin Park. If this police chief that you people claim is so good, was so good, why was he unemployed? Now, you people don't tell us why he was unemployed. All you do is tell us how great he was. Well, if he was that great, you people...
Don't interrupt. I'll explain once he's finished at the end. Thank you. Please don't interrupt him.
Thank you. Think about it. If I was that great, I'd be working somewhere. I sure in the heck wouldn't be unemployed. And the city that he left was very welcome that he did leave. So would we hire somebody that somebody else didn't want? Okay, now 4th of July fireworks, you should cancel that and take all that $50,000 and give it to the police department and tell them to take care of this city. Look, we look like the 4th of July down every street in Baldwin Park. You can hear it anywhere you stand. Also, that magazine Now, you ought to trash that. I don't think anybody reads it. People park illegally. People park anywhere. Nobody cares. Thank you.
Okay, moving along with public communication.
Good evening. John Rios, resident. One of the things that a lot of people are talking for Salcido, but you guys don't really know the background on him, okay? One of the things that our residents in where I live and other residents close to Barnes Park and everything, they would say, what's this guy doing, going to church? Lozano's already introduced him as the chief of police and everything, even before they had put a committee together, which was ex-cops or even cops that were in that committee. But Mr. Lozano put his own little group together to vote in men. They didn't take the recommendation of the other chief of police from other cities. Okay? See, it was already in Lozano's little brain that he says that, this is my friend, I'm going to put him as the next chief. One of the things you have to realize, what you were doing, we knew what you were doing. Okay? There's 75, 80,000 people in Baldwin Park, okay? And I would say over than half of it knows what you're doing, Dirty politics for one thing, okay? But the way you presented yourself 2 weeks ago, that was very unprofessional. You're not my mayor. Mrs. Garcia, you did the same thing. One of the things you guys have to be a little more professional. I don't care who's right here or anything. I know most of the people right here, but I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? You wanted a puppet as the chief of police. The other chiefs that you had fired, they weren't your puppets. And that's what you want. You want a little puppet up there. I've talked to a lot of the chief of police in Baldwin Park. the captains, the lieutenants, and everything. And anytime I suggest something, they follow up on it. You know, they don't have to wait. They go around my neighborhood, the places that they are caught, you know, the ex. Oh, now, Mr. Taylor, Chief Taylor, he knew what the hot spots were right here in Baldwin Park. You know, he had been here for...
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Rios. All right, move along with public communication.
Greg Tuttle, business owner. First, before I get started on one other thing here, on the reports of officers on number 10, this was supposed to be carried over and be a public comment section, and I hope that that's the way it's going to be tonight, because Mayor and Monica were gone, but that's the way it was supposed to be done. Okay, people want to know why Chief Salcido was gone. The Tribune made it very clear, if the people had read the article. Chief Salcido scored the lowest, I'm talking the lowest, of every PD officer, 7 of them that came in here. And these were people that were in the law enforcement business. These were not paid city officials. These were people that were in the law enforcement, and they said this guy didn't have a clue what was going on. Even though he had his 27 years in Inglewood and all the other stuff, he didn't have a clue on police work, real police work. You had a guy that came in here, because these people don't know. You can ask the police officers that came up tonight, and were 2 of them. You can ask the whole police force, other than the 3 guys that lied to get Chief Taylor fired, that they hated Chief Salcido and that he was a tyrant, and that they did not want to work under these conditions. And a lot of our young officers were going to leave as soon as they got their badge. Now, Chief Salcido was a PR person. He went with Manny, he went with Jeannie, go to churches, you go to all the stuff. If you're incompetent, what do? You go out and you try and convince the people that you know something. A chief works in his office. How can this guy work if he's out PRing? The thing is, this guy didn't do police work. What he did was PR for the mayor for his next election and for Monica Garcia. But he did nothing to do something for the community and to build the trust into the police officers. These police officers were all in disarray. And the thing was, when it came back to the city hall, they were all happy. When this guy left, it was like a whole cloud had been lifted out of here. Now, the panel that did vote him number 2 were all paid city officials that rely on their jobs. And they needed a job. And they were worried the mayor would fire him if they didn't hire this. The guy was hired to be a puppet. And a puppet is somebody that does whatever the mayor says to do. Now, we had a Chief Hatzel. Same thing. She got fired too. Not because she was a woman or a Latino. She got fired because she was a puppet. And she hired people over and above the ranks that she shouldn't have. And Marlene Garcia taught her how to do that. And it sued the city for $200,000, and we lost.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All righty. Hey, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ed Barraza, and
speaking to the microphone.
I just am compelled to come up here. I've been to several city council meetings over the years. I have family and friends that live here in Baldwin Park, and I've been in and around this city for at least 40 years, and I can't believe I'm that old, but I have been around here for about that long. And I said I was compelled to come up here because when people are going to stand up here and slander a person who was doing a great job, and they're going to give you false information, they're going to disseminate false information about a chief who was fired because he was supposedly incompetent, yet the people voted for him, the city council voted for him to be the chief, and then they voted to fire him. So how competent are the city council if we can't trust their vote? And I want to say I want to say that I support the police department 100%. The people that wear that badge and put on that uniform, I think they're among the bravest and most courageous people we have in our midst. And that's another reason I'm standing up here. That's another reason I'm standing up here, because when they do their jobs out in the street, and then you have a systemic problem of racism, bigotry, and hiring practices and promoting practices that are just ridiculous. When you have 11 sergeants and 3 of them are Latino in a city that's predominantly Latino, there's a problem. When you have lieutenants that there are absolutely 0 Latinos in the lieutenant position, there are 0 Latinos in the position of captain, and now there are 0 positions in the office of chief. So we have to look a little deeper, and I think that what we as a community have to do is we have to look to see who voted for him and against him and put him in and pulled him out and played that game, and understand, that at times people have quoted the Bible and they have talked about these things. A wolf in sheep's clothing is what we are dealing with here. Wolves in sheep's clothing. These people who put their lives on the line every day deserve fair treatment when they're up for promotion. They deserve that. They deserve to not be discriminated against or treated unfairly. And I ask the people of Baldwin Park to look to see who's voting this way, so that when the next election comes up, you can see who to vote for and not for. Thank you.
All righty. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak? All right, if not, I'm now going to officially, oh, there is one, okay. Oh, yes, Ms. Absolutely. Go ahead and place the mic down. Yes, thank you.
Well, first of all, I am for reinstating Chief Salcedo. I want to, excuse me, Mayor and
yes, it's fine.
Members of the council. My name is Rita Garcia. And first, I want to thank you for my light signal that I got on Hornbrook and Los Angeles Street.
You're welcome.
And second, on Hornbrook, we keep having the problem of the Irwindale trucks that go to the area there, the factories. When they go to unload and load, they go into our residential street, our narrow street, with these big semi trucks, and they continue to do it. To turn, they go through our street, they go around the block, and at one time, not too long ago, in the evening, he actually hit a car that was parked, trying to make the turn. And we have children that are present, and not only that, it's going to ruin our streets. We're going to get more potholes than we need there because of the heavy weight. I would like, if possible, to have a sign put up where they only allowed, or they do not allow vehicles that are over a certain amount of tons. And they're Irwindale.
Yes.
They're Irwindale, but they're using Baldwin Park to drive their streets. I guess they don't want to take a long turn down Los Angeles Street or whatever, so they use a residential street to make their turns. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And we'll have someone, we'll have to deal, well, anyone else? Okay, one more, and then I'll go ahead and I'll speak to what she said. But go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Kevin Rooney. I'm on the Planning Commission. I got told if I spoke, I might get taken off the Planning Commission, but I can't help it. When I see something wrong, I need to speak up, speak my mind. I just think it's totally wrong for you to uproot a man from another town to bring him over here, have him here 5 weeks, and then fire him without no reason whatsoever. Okay? As you can tell, I eat a lot. I go to a lot of the businesses around Baldwin Park. In about 4 of the 8 businesses since Salcedo came in, I seen cops coming and introducing themselves to the owners. saying, hi, my name's this and that. I never seen that before. He had they even told me that the chief told them, we got to make an effort to be more personable with the business owners and with the community. And I remember last meeting, Ms. Baca, you even said, I do what's best for the community. This isn't what's best for the community. What's best for the community is to have Chief Salcido come back. I've never seen someone going out there. And you guys were arguing about his pay. And he was saying his job is to sit in his office on his ass. That's not his job. His job is to come and make this a safe place for us to live and to make us feel safe. With a lot of the police officers, I know they have a hard time trusting the community, but they were coming out and saying hello, getting to know us. I've seen Chief Salcido reading to kids, being at the baseball field. I've been a coach for I don't know how many years. My oldest kid's 27. And we all live in Baldwin Park. I got 5 kids, 2 grandchildren. So I'm just asking you, please, bring Chief Salcido back, do what's right. All right? And you could have the 45 seconds left.
All right, thank you. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to speak? Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rick Pena, and I just want to say that Chief Salcido is nobody's puppet, okay? And that's for you, okay?
Okay, and stop, interrupt. Do not interrupt. Go ahead.
He's nobody's puppet. Chief Salcido worked every day for 5 weeks here for the community, okay? And for someone to say that he didn't do anything for the community, you heard today the community come out to support him, okay? For all 5 of you, especially you, Pacheco, listen to the community. Do what's right, okay? If you don't, the community is going to turn on you. And I will make sure that there is a recall for all 3 of you, okay? Thank you.
All righty, moving along with public communication. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing me. My name is Kathy Rojas. I grew up in Baldwin Park. And I did want to just share just a minute of your time. Growing up in Baldwin Park, I saw a lot of killing. It started when I was in the 11th grade, and it's continued. I saw a lot of harassment, not with me personally, but with friends and with the younger generation growing up. It's no secret that it's been very hard on a lot of young Hispanic children that have grown up and now, without education, getting kicked out of school because of what they wear, because of what they dress like, because of just not fitting the plan of the school district. They're left without any education. What do they turn to? There's only been 2 incidents in my life that I had a good encounter with the police department. One of them was, there was a young boy that used to run away from home, and he was part of McLaren Hall, and he would come and stay at my house. And they would find him, they would take him back, and then he would run away, and then he'd come back to my house. He was 13 years old, already jumped into the gang, already on drugs, but he felt safe at my house. After 3 times where he went back to McLaren Hall, we didn't know where his mother was. 2 police officers brought him to my house and said, we know he stays here. And they just dropped him off for me. That was a wonderful encounter. The second encounter was last month. We had one of our friends from church, he paid $100 to get free food. He paid $100 for the food, but to give it out to the community. we didn't know what to do because we had all this food and we couldn't find anybody. We were stuck and we were looking everywhere. Well, what happened was two police officers came and they escorted us to places where we could give away the food, and there were perishables, so we were able to accomplish that. That was a good day. And I just wanted to tell you that I felt safe, and I hope that you understand that it's for everybody's safety, not just for ours, but for the police officers themselves, because we care about them as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Lozano and council members, and the greatest community I've ever seen, Baldwin Park. My name is Lilia Gulumian. Some of you know me. I'm a small business owner here in Baldwin Park, LB Cake Stop. I've came to the city about 3 years ago, and not knowing what to expect, and I didn't expect this. In the past 3 years, in my store, there have been many incidents where people have tagged my windows, they broke my windows, they have tried to break into my store. And as much as I've always seen police officers on the streets, I think I personally have seen a lot of difference since Chief Salcido has been in office. I've seen a lot more police officers. I have seen him being involved. I've owned about 7 stores in different cities, and I've never known who the mayor of the city is. Unlike Mayor Lozano, he personally came and introduced himself. Monica also, a lot of you guys here, and Chief Salcido himself did the same thing, introduced himself, offered his assistance, his help with whatever we would need. And a person with such leadership skills has to be in a city like Baldwin Park, where there are a lot of unexpected incidents. I don't want to call Baldwin Park not a good city, but there are a lot of room for growth, and a person with his skills should be in office. And I've heard one of the community members saying that Chief Salcido was a puppet. I've never seen a puppet being a leader. I've never seen a puppet that was actually as qualified as he was, and that wasn't really a nice statement anyway. But I'm here for Chief Salcido, and I would also like, just like the rest of the community members, I would like to know answers. I know you guys have discharged him, but what was the basis on the discharge? I've heard a lot of different answers from people here and there, and most of them were based on emotions. In a city like this, or in any city, positions like that and solutions for things like that shouldn't be based on somebody's emotions. We have a law, and the law needs to be utilized, and the law needs to be utilized to the best of the community. We would like Chief Salcido back in office.
Thank you. All righty. Anyone else wishing to speak under public communication? Okay, come on up.
I'm Alex Urquidez. I'm also part of the press for Mount San Antonio College, and I've lived here for over 10 years of my life. Went to Vinan Elementary School. And at a neutral standpoint, not trying to offend anybody, I also want to know if you guys are going to have a press release based on what happened to Salcedo, or is that his?
Yes, that is correct.
And let us know what happened. Because obviously a lot of the community cares about it. Maybe some have their different viewpoints, but obviously it's important to the community, and I also want to know. And I want to let over 50,000 students of Mount Sac know what actually happened. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Moving along. Anyone else wishing to speak? If not, I'm going to officially declare the public communication closed. Okay, so at this point, I just want to say something to clarify. For one, the gentleman here to the left, I repeat this over and over. The Constitution of the United States allows you to come up here and fabricate information, and we have no recourse whatsoever. I could clearly say the information that he made here today is false and untrue. Now, so that you know who Chief Salcido was, is an individual who came originally born in Nayarit, Mexico. His parents came here as immigrants, and this young individual built himself, struggled. The parents struggled, but he made himself an individual who was committed to law enforcement. In 1992, he was hired by the city of South Pasadena. In 1989, he went on and became a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, and a captain. So for someone to come up here and discredit this individual, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And he was not employed. He was brought from the city of Inglewood to the city of Baldwin Park. And yes, was it competitive? Absolutely, it was competitive. Now, of course, we ultimately at the end make that decision regardless of who conducted the actual interview prior to us even meeting with him. Now, when you even look at some of the individuals that interviewed him that are from local chiefs, there's the city that they represent was no match to the city of Inglewood by far. There was 122 officers in the department that he was at, coming to the city of Baldwin Park where we have close to 70 police officers. So yes, was it very competitive? Yes, it was. This person was let go for no reason. Executive level individuals can be hired and could be let go without any cause, and that's what happened to him. And as the mayor of Baldwin Park, I could clearly let everyone know he did not commit any type of criminal act. Now, what upset me the most, and I did walk out of that meeting, and I was not very professional with my colleagues, I was disturbed. Here was a person who was 1 month and 5 weeks and made this major impact. Now, could you imagine what he would have done in 1 year? Now, I, along with the hundreds of residents that live in the city of Baldwin Park, have a vested interest. I've been on the City Council or Planning Commission since 1992, on the City Council since 2004. And yes, I was a part of the team that helped invest in this police department, and I have to credit each and every one of them from that era to date. That's the only reason that we're able to attract all these potential commercial stores that we have throughout Baldwin Park. What was discovered and was alarming to me today, we just hired a chief who was fired about 2 months ago or a month ago. Was it a month ago? Was it a month ago? We fired this particular chief. We just hired him tonight to come and sit here. And I voted against it, so does Councilmember Monica Garcia. That is absolutely wrong, and it sends a bad message to the residents of the city of Baldwin Park. Now, my parents taught me from as young as I was that you do not ever judge anyone on the color. And I have always been committed to that. I don't care what color the individual is, but we have to have equality. When I have officers that are scared to come up here because of retaliation, where the test scores were not posted, and certain individuals that were privileged that did not pass the tests were removed, then there were a panel to interview them. That is wrong. And it sends a bad message to Latinos that were qualified that should have been in that position. If you interrupt me one more, I'm going to ask the police department to remove him. Stop. So yes, am I going to be outspoken? I'm going to encourage those officers to speak out, because it is important for this city to have a state or federal agency investigate that. Now, what was very interesting tonight, we had the attorney that came in and explained information that I did not have, nor any of the council members, I believe, had a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And it was definitely damning, to say the least, of what has occurred. The report was there was no discrimination, but that was a good old boy thing. What's the difference? There's no difference as far as I'm concerned. So it angers me that as the mayor, I have to air this. I've been on here for many, many years, and and it's shocking to me that this has occurred, because it is wrong. Yes, the color should not matter, but give that person, each officer, equal opportunity. No one should be privileged over anyone at all, and that's important. So I want to end because, yes, we're going to have an interim who was fired and coming back. So during that time, we're going to continue to look for a chief, and I will ask Chief David Salcido to reapply. And I need the community. Just like this person's being given an opportunity who got fired, and I won't mention why, that is unjust to me, then he has an equal opportunity to reapply again. But everyone here has to be outspoken and let the whole entire city of Baldwin Park, because if this person made an impact in a month and 5 weeks, imagine what it could do for every one of us. All he wanted to do is assist and enhance the department. Certainly there was people that were resistant to change, but Baldwin Park needs to change for the betterment of everyone, regardless of the color. I'll end by saying this. That flag is a flag that represents each and every one of us. I was mentioned earlier. I took an oath of office, and I'm committed to that oath of office that represents that flag. And I want justice and equality without any type of reservations for anyone that applies as a police to this police department, because it's very important. Thank you.
Mayor Lozano?
Go ahead.
Mayor Lozano. Mayor Lozano is one of the biggest hypocrites in life because he is not telling the truth. He is trying to fan the flames of racism to bring this up to make you believe that this is a racist issue, and it is not. Where was Mayor Lozano when he wanted to kick out our police department full of Latinos and make it to go sheriffs? Do you guys remember that? He was going to get rid of a lot of Latinos who were in our police department, and there was no opportunity for all those Latinos to have a job. Where was Mayor Lozano when he fired Chief Lopez, who was a Latino? Where was Mayor Lozano when he fired Lopez? This man is the racist. This is the guy right here that will come and lie to all of you about it. The gentleman that came up here to say that he wanted this foundation, you guys should walk out, but look at the one that came up here was looking for a job, and he's a lawyer himself, okay? And all of you should, go ahead, fuck it. Go ahead, Lozano, I'll get you one. You got it, bro, it's all yours, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mayor, I want to address another issue, if I may. Just real quickly, I think Mrs. Garcia came up and asked about the trucks from Irwindale. Can you, Sam, do me a favor?
I can't hear you, Susan.
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry.
I really do urge a lot of you to stay and listen to the other side of the story and not be one-sided about what has to be said up here.
It's always been one-sided.
That's why I think that you should listen to everything that everyone has to say. Remember, if you're divided, you're not going to accomplish anything. And I feel that we need to be fair and listen to every side of the story and not just judge because someone says one thing. Thank you.
They're going to have the police report.
Mayor, thank you, Mayor.
Councilman, yes, go ahead.
Just really quickly, I think Mrs. Garcia mentioned the Irwindale trucks. I'm also very concerned because I remember when we did the contract, they were supposed to be coming in through Los Angeles Street, and lately they're always coming through Olive Street. They opened that side, so I kind of want clarification because the other day there was like 4 or 5 big dump trucks, and I was concerned because we weren't supposed to have them through the residential. They were going to go through Los Angeles because it's more industrial. Can you clarify that, Sam? Thank you.
Yes, you're exactly right. They're supposed to be coming in from Los Angeles and utilizing a very small portion of Olive Street. And in the beginning, they had many trucks going through Olive, but I think we've talked to the director and the project manager over there to minimize that activity. But what they are doing now is they're building another access road through Los Angeles, and they will be accessing the pit through there, and they will not be using Olive anymore.
Not only did I see them come in, but sometimes they use the center median to park all the trucks, and they block the cars that are going back and forth. So I know that they may not use that access, but they're still blocking. There was like 3, 4 big dump trucks. So if you could just check in with Irwindale or the people that are doing the project, just to avoid at least parking there, because it doesn't allow the residents to go back and forth. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it.
Yes, Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Thank you. Well, first of all, to address the issue of the trucks on Olive Street, we have asked Irwindale to reroute those trucks because we had all expressed concern when we were in negotiations with Irwindale that there should be no ingress egress along Olive Street and it should not impact our residents. And unfortunately, there was some language in the negotiation as we were briefed by the city attorney and by the attorney that was hired. And so temporarily, that was kind of like the temporary ingress egress, unfortunately. Yes, I agree. We need to revisit that, and we need to really be vocal for our residents and how it's impacting our residents. But I really want to applaud those of you who have come out tonight and have expressed your concern about the decision regarding Chief David Salcedo. I really respect and I honor all the comments that were made tonight on both sides, but I really connect with those of you who express support for Chief Salcedo. And I grew up here in this community. I know, this community is about family. It's about how we connect with each other. And growing up, that's been very clear. Even now as an adult, I go back and I see individuals that I went to school with, and it's like we pick up where we left off. And that's because of the strong connection and the bond in this community. And when I was elected to the city council in 2007, that was one of the first things I wanted to know is how is our police department connecting with our community? And that's been something that I have constantly voiced. And even with Chief Lily Hadsel, we saw a little bit of that. But with David Salcedo, I was so impressed. And I'll tell you, when we were interviewing the candidates, there were 5 candidates that were brought before us. They were excellent candidates. It really was a tough choice. But ultimately, I based my decision on how he was just so energized about being here in the community and leading the community. And I did not regret that decision. When I saw him out at Little Leagues, when I saw him out at the church, when I saw him, here in council, and even just the way that he spoke about the police department, you know what? He was always very positive about the police department. He took a very positive approach about how we were going to move this department forward. He never threw our police department under the bus. He didn't publicly state, where we can be better. But I loved hearing the community saying, he is what we need. And I couldn't agree with you more. Because he was like that injection to the police department and to our community, you know what, that we've needed for a long time. The truth of the matter is we've needed that for a long time. And, what I really want to stress is that this city council and this police department, we are accountable to the community. Sometimes I think that people get that wrong. They think that somehow the city council is accountable to, certain individuals, certain quote-unquote organizations, as was mentioned earlier. No, this is about the community. This is about what is in the best interest of our community. And I've lived here since 1975. Rarely have I seen so many community members come out and speak about an issue. And, the fact that you're all here, and I saw some individuals who struggle, with public speaking, but they were so compelled to come up and to share their, to speak their voice because it affects their community, it affects their families, it affects their lives. So I just want to applaud you for doing that. I want to assure you that I'm with you. At the last council meeting, I walked out in protest because I wanted to be very clear. I wanted to send a very clear message to the community that I support David Salcedo, and I support the idea of him coming back. Very few public officials have inspired me like David Salcedo inspired me. And I've worked in city government for, since 2003. Okay, so that's a lot. That's many years. I've worked in public service for many, many years. And very few people have risen to that level So he was special, and I would love to see him come back as well. You know, there were some disparaging remarks about Chief Salcedo, and I just want to, again, stress that there were two panels that ranked the candidates. And one panel was our executive team, consisting of our Chief Executive Officer, our Director of Recreation and Community Services, and our Finance Director. These are individuals who come to this city day in, day out. They work with our community. You'll see them here in the evenings. You'll see them here in the week, over the weekends. And they know our community. When they ranked these individuals, and I saw that David Salcedo was in the top 2, that meant a lot to me, because that was telling me this individual was going to be a fit for our organization and for the community which we work with. There was another panel that has been mentioned. I want to point out that there was a chief of police that represents a population residents of 114. There was another chief of police on that panel that represents about 1,400 residents. And then there was a city manager that represents about 208 residents. In the city of Baldwin Park, we represent close to 77,000 residents. So if you're going to hang your hat on a panel that, at maximum knows how to govern 1,400 residents, I think we need to, revisit that and to look at how do you police a community of 77,000 residents. It's going to be very different. You're going to use different tactics. There are going to be different challenges. And not to mention that external panel, those cities were mostly industrial. Most of these people go home at night. Not Baldwin Park. Our families, we connect here over dinner. This is where it all begins, in the evening. And so I'm sorry, but they try to disparage Chief Salcedo about this external panel. Well, I want to mention that going forward, as a best practice, we should be looking at panels with representatives of comparable cities. And I want to make that very clear. I want to put that on our agenda, the city's agenda, for human resources, that when we go out and we identify any candidates within our city, that it has to be comparable in size, demographic, challenges, etc. And that has to be across the board. Tonight we learned about some practices that are going on, and we really need to step up and we need to change those practices. Every one of us in the city, is accountable. And I want to also acknowledge that those individuals who got up tonight to talk about unity and about doing what's in the best interest of our community, I really want you to pause, and I really want you to give your time and your consideration to the residents who came out tonight, and to really listen, because what's in the best interest of this community is to connect with them. What's in the best interest of the community is to reach out, at these different events, and to reach out to that child, to to continue in that spirit. I think that we've heard tonight, that I think David Salcedo represented. That's not to say that there haven't been positive experience with our police department, because there have been. But I just want to be really clear that we've heard from the community tonight. Let's really take that into serious consideration as we move forward and as we try to unite. Thank you.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Vice Mayor.
Just really quickly, I don't want to address the David Salcedo, because it is a personal matter, and we wish we can express and say exactly how things happen, but unfortunately we are governed by laws, and we just need to be very mindful. We can't reveal information that's personal issues, but I will address this. I just heard Councilmember Monica Garcia say that we're accountable to our community, but what I say is we cannot pick and choose when we're accountable. Most of you remember how I fought for a whole year when we spent $500,000 on a park across the street. $500,000 for a low-income community is a lot of money. We invested $500,000 and had community meetings all over the city of Baldwin Park. Every single community member said, we want that park. And that is why we embarked on that venture. After $500,000, 5 community meetings, and probably 2 years of staff and our time, they decided from one day to another they didn't want the park, and that was $500,000 down the drain. So again, if we're going to be accountable, we cannot pick and choose. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Monica Garcia.
No, Mayor, that wasn't me.
Oh, Cruz Baca. Thank you.
No.
I just want to clarify something. First of all, I did not vote to dismiss Chief Taylor, and I did not vote to hire Captain Salcedo. So I would need to clarify that I was not a part of the vote. As you know, I've always made decisions based on what I feel is the best thing for our community. I was born and raised here, and shame on me if I don't make the decisions. I never make a decision based on emotion or because there's a personality conflict. I'm an adult, and I don't need for you to like me. I need for you to respect what I do here, and that's what I've always demanded is respect, just like I respect everyone else. It doesn't matter where you come from. I do not discriminate, even though I was accused of that 2 weeks ago by Mayor Lozano. I have never discriminated. I have worked and lived and been a part of just about every culture that there is on this earth. So I would be the last person that would judge someone by the color of their skin, their religion, or their ethnic background, or how much money they make. I also want to say that our police department worked very hard and diligently when there was a problem with the checkpoints, and that's going back to 2009 when Chief Hatzel was still our chief. We had Captain Reynoso who helped with that, and also at that time Chief Taylor who helped and worked with the community and a lot of our church organizations in order to help our lower income communities deal with the checkpoints that were happening at that time. Also, I know that a lot of our police department, and also here it is, Captain Reynoso again, was a part of helping along with a lot of our police officers when AB 60 was going to come into effect to allow driver's license for our undocumented population. And that was much success due to the officers that went out there in the streets and worked with a lot of the people. We have officers that have the toy drives, that have these beautiful parties here for our children. Even though it was pouring rain last year, we had over 3,000 children in line that were given toys. We have officers that carry blankets and are able to give someone a cup of coffee or a meal when someone is out on the street and down and out. We have officers that deliver turkeys before Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving. So I'm not here to do marketing for our police department, but I do want you to see that these actions within our community have been going on for a long time, and it's due to the wonderful police officers and some of the council members up here as well that work very hard in helping our community. I will always be a part of this community, no matter what, and you can always come to me, as a lot of you know. I always have an open door, and I always answer your calls, so please come to me and listen to both sides of the story. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right. So at this point, are we ready to go on the consent calendar? So consent calendars we have,
Mayor,
yes.
there was that presentation.
Excuse me?
The presentation.
Man, let's just wait to the end. Oh, no, we better do it now. Okay, go ahead. Go
Let's
ahead.
just get over with. Let's just do it.
Let's just go ahead. Come on up here. We'll have the cannabis people come up. Sorry about that. Gentlemen, sorry about that. Let's get it What is it, samples?
Do you have any samples? I think we need it up here.
I think tonight would be a good night for that.
Thank you for your patience. We really appreciate it.
All right, let's go, you guys.
Okay, first of all, Mayor, council members, and everyone from Baldwin Park, thank you for having us tonight. Our objective tonight is to share our intentions and our experiences in the medical cannabis industry. We are a management and consulting group based out of California, and we'd like to share our experiences with the space. If you guys could go on to the next slide, please. In our experiences, we've seen when cities are trying to develop compliance and legislation, it's very difficult to find the right ordinance that works for each unique particular city. There's an issue with creating the proper amount of retail spaces, issuing the right amount of licenses, and that work for an individual city. Regarding city transparency, it's hard for a city and the citizens and who's applying to operate in the space to find a balance that works for the both of them. If you could go to the next slide, please. This is my partner Anthony and Christos. Anthony, if you could share a little bit of our experiences.
Sure. Well, we currently have a couple 100,000 square feet of cultivation under management. We have collective experience in extracting the cannabis into oil form. We've run several retail locations. Bottom line, we have experience in all pillars of the business. It's not just these three verticals. It's several: distribution, research and development, analytics, laboratories, etc. Several different verticals. Bottom line is we have experience in all of those verticals and currently have over a couple 100,000 square feet of cultivation under management, including several dozen acres of outdoor, from development of the schematics to to actual managing the day-to-day cultivation at the grassroots level.
If you don't mind going to the next slide, please. So the objective of any city is to create an ordinance that works and that people are going to follow. Obviously, we all know that medical marijuana and the black market marijuana scene has been running for a very long time and creates a lot of issues for the police department and the citizens who would like to have access to medicine in a safe manner. There's no point of creating an ordinance that people aren't going to follow. With the proper system in place, there lies an opportunity to both please local citizens and create a tax model that can ensure safe cannabis distribution and benefit the community. Anthony, you want to fill me on job growth?
Sure. Well, I'll keep it simple. I think it's obvious that whenever you're considering regulating any business or any new industry to a city, with that comes job growth. So I'm not going to sit up here and pitch you the economic impact of that. But we'll speak, though, from a personal level. I am from Covina. I have several friends and family members here in Baldwin Park, and from Pomona all the way to Alhambra, the entire San Gabriel Valley. And it would be personally a huge honor to be able to, for you guys to at some point regulate cannabis, and for us to at some point come and be a part of that new industry here, bring our expertise, and on this note, serve the community amongst many ways, also bringing jobs to the community. I guess this is just the bottom line.
Yeah, if you guys could go to the next slide. Some of the issues we've seen with consulting to other license holders in different cities, it's hard, when it comes to cultivation, it's hard to develop an overlay zone that fits the city. There's a fine line of what people are going to define as a school. There's a state ordinance that's still being developed. There's a lot of confusion in place. With our experiences, we feel like we could address a lot of those concerns before they even arise. Another concern that citizens have, which are all valid concerns, are air and water pollution. Is there going to be smell getting out? We've addressed a lot of these issues already in the past, so we'd like to take a pretty proactive approach to have solutions for these before they are even addressed. Another point is illegal sales and distribution. You have to do everything in your power to ensure that doesn't happen, and you take the money out of the drug dealers' hands and create a system that creates taxes, and it's easier for police to govern. If you could go to the next slide.
I can actually talk on
Sorry,
some
go
notes.
ahead. Next slide regarding extraction. I know it's a very sensitive topic because there's a lot of stories about different forms of extraction. We have a lot of experience in creating extraction models that are both safe and pretty sustainable for the area. And regarding retail experience for dispensaries. For dispensaries, we have 6 dispensaries in Southern California that we've consulted for and helped them get their SOPs in place. For a successful model to create a retail dispensary, you need to find a retail area that the citizens are happy with. There's a strong push with citizens that they'd like to keep the retail out of sight, out of mind, but this is ultimately a medicine that we're supplying to patients, so it needs to be accessible. The state's creating in the ordinance, in the rough draft, to operate from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. only. We usually feel like that should be adjusted. Obviously, never be open past 9 p.m. to ensure the safety of the customers. And to prevent security issues is we have full camera systems and specific communication with the police department anytime there's deliveries being made, so they're aware of the liability that comes along with it. Yep, that sums up our group, and we hope to see the city create a great ordinance.
All right, thank you.
I have a few questions. if I may.
I do too.
Yeah, I do too.
I guess all of us do, right? And I'm sorry, I'm not educated in this topic, so I'm going to have to ask probably dumb questions, but, bear with me. I'm just curious. I'm sure that when facilities start off, they're probably really clean because they're new and everything's right. How do you prevent a facility from getting contaminated, like along the way? Like, what are the precautions that people take?
What type of contaminations are you?
Well, I just, like I say, residue. I mean, things are moving in and out. And, like, for example, how do facilities prevent plants or whatever the merchandise is from getting contaminated, for being clean? I mean, eventually, even though, let's say, a city doesn't want to distribute here in a city and it goes elsewhere, I mean, what if people start getting sick? I'm just a little curious. Like, how do people prevent that kind of contamination?
Well, that's a great question, actually. So our first dispensaries and cultivation centers we worked with were in Colorado. Colorado's been on the market it's taken lead in the United States. So we've taken a lot of the models that have worked and tried and true in Colorado and are carrying them over to California. So in our SOPs, there's a seed to sale tracking. That means the second there's even the tiniest bit of a plant, it's monitored the whole way through. There's really no room for a plant to not follow its intended path. When it's finally ready to be a consumable product, all product is tested in a licensed facility, and they test for all pesticides or anything that could be harmful to the user.
So the testing is done ongoing, right, throughout the existence of the facility, right?
Yes, excuse me, sorry. Anytime a product is complete, from start to finish, there's monitoring throughout the whole process, and anytime there's a finished product, it needs to be tested before it ever even sees the shelf.
My next question to you is, what kind of models have you seen in terms of policing, like funding for extra security and policing? Since you have experience, do you typically see that people that come in share a little bit of the burden in the cost of paying a police officer, let's say? Have you seen that in other models?
Of course. Not only do we obviously have our own security systems, and we also have armed security on site at all times, but we found the most effective solution is to have a strong communication with the police department. They should know all of our steps along the way. So rather than them having a liability of possible theft, they know what we're doing, and we've seen that as long as there's open communication, there usually isn't any issues.
So do you ever, and again, I'm sorry, I'm asking questions that might not be off topic, but do you ever partner with the city to pay some of the cost of policing? So I know that you have like your own team, but through the negotiation process, is there like a percentage that perhaps goes to the city to help?
Of course, there's been certain cities that have worked out a program with the license holders, and it's been very effective.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, if I just may ask
Yes, Councilman Pacheco.
In these ordinances that you've done in for other cities, what are the typical tax structures? How does the city tax typically?
Regarding cultivation, so every different facet of the business has their own tax structure. We've seen for cultivation, it's anywhere between $10 to $13 a square foot, and on dispensaries, it's per transaction, and anything above $35 is a $5 extra marijuana tax.
You said for cultivation it's $10 per square foot?
$10 to $13 a square foot we've seen.
$10 to $13? And that's, is that a once a year tax? It's like a property tax once a year or something? Or?
Yes, you pay it once a year, and we've seen, depending on the size of the city, most cities issue around 200,000 to 300,000 square feet of canopy space. This is separate from the state tax. This is just a local city tax.
That's a local city tax. And then you have distribution where it's typically a transaction, per transaction charge?
Correct. Just like retail, it's specific to the transaction amount.
Okay, and what would that be, like 9%, 10%, or?
With the dispensaries, it's about 9%. With the distribution, because it's a little bit of a different model, they've been doing the actual space based on however many transactions. Everybody's done a little different, but based on however many transactions they do per year, they're at different tier levels for the cost. That way, ultimately it's very beneficial for the city to collect taxes, but there needs to be some sort of arrangement where obviously the business can stay open. So they've created tier structured taxes based on how many transactions they do. It's a pretty wide range. It's kind of hard to say.
Okay, and if it was manufacturing, would there be do you guys have, because I know there's cultivation and there's manufacturing. How would they charge for
manufacturing? They do it based on weight of finished product.
Okay.
So if they produce, say, a pound of finished product, they would have a tax specific to that pound of finished product. And usually that's around, I think it's like $75 to $100.
Per pound?
Correct.
All right, now just one last question. In cities that you have worked in and their ordinances are in play and they have, companies working there now, what's the approximate revenue that a city would make from that?
So every city, the easiest way I could kind of break that down is based on how many licenses they issue, and they usually issue based on the zoning they have available that they choose is fit for the space. We've seen what works best is for cultivation, manufacturing, which is extraction, and distribution. They usually are in an industrial area, and we've seen they just kind of pick a pocket within the city that needs a little more push of the economy and business in operation there. If you do the math, you have 300,000 square foot of canopy space that's issued. You're looking upward of $350,000 a year just in tax revenue from the cultivation. With the whole amount, you could probably, $3.5 million. If you add the whole group, upwards up to $5-6 million between all the different tiers in the business.
Well, just to clarify, you said millions, 5 to 6 millions for one operation with all the
Not
components?
for one operation. I'm just talking with the cannabis program. That's you don't want to also turn in not you guys, but you don't want to have a city where there's a strong influx of these licenses. I'm talking a very conservative amount of licenses, and I think total you could get around $6 million in tax revenue if you issued a smaller amount of licenses compared to the other cities.
I have a question. When you mean a smaller amount of licenses, because I know that different cities, it varies, everything from like 10, 12, 20 licenses to 100, like the city of Los Angeles or whatever ridiculous amount that they have. But anyway, I might be exaggerating, but I know it's a lot of licenses at the city of Los Angeles for the dispensaries. Do you mean it would be like 7, 10? How many licenses would you call small?
Well, obviously, being in the industry, you'd want, it's my gut to say we would want more licenses to have it accessible. But, it is a new program, so in my opinion, there's no point of issuing anything that can't be governed. I've seen what would work best if, let's just say, the city of this size decided to issue, say, 6 of each individual license. They could try it out for a year, make sure they can govern it. Because if you're requiring the business owner to pay the proper amount of taxes, there needs to be a way to govern that tax is actually being paid. So, if you started a program as, say, a test program, and you issued, you guys have, 80,000 residents, I think?
Yes.
80,000 residents. If you did about 6 of each tier of license, I feel like that's a pretty approachable model that can actually be properly governed.
Oh, thank you. I have another question. You said it was $10 a square foot. Is that like a set fee, or is it something that could either go up or down depending on what the market is?
It hasn't been dependent on the market. It's Usually they issue you a smaller amount first. Like I said, it usually starts around $10. And then after they've been in operation for a year, it goes up to around $13.
Okay. And also, is there ever a time where you have surveillance cameras and our police department would be able to, I guess, look into what's going on within your facility and making sure that everything's being run correctly?
Correct. So we actually took this model from the work we've done in Colorado, and in every Colorado dispensary and cultivation site, there's literally not a single corner of a facility that is not is under surveillance. And this is all this information is accessible to the local police departments.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Are you done? Go ahead.
Another program we use with our dispensaries is a cash management program. Basically, there really is no money transacted to the employee. It all goes through a system. This information, and we kind of take this extra step. It's really not asked for by any cities yet. Maybe the state will ask for it, maybe a city will. But what we do is all money that's being transacted goes through our cash management program. So that way there's no opportunity ever for money going missing on our end, and also for the city, it's full transparency. They can see every dollar that's ever transacted into our facilities.
Okay, just to clarify, so it's like the city and an organization like yours together picking someone that's going to be responsible for that money, and both sides can see what comes in and what comes out at all times. So, and it's independent person. Is there people that do that already, or is it something that is rare to find?
This is what we implement in all the dispensaries we've consulted and managed for.
Okay, just one last question. And I'm sorry, because I saw the word retail, and then I saw dispensaries. You have to educate me. What is retail exactly, and what is dispensaries?
They're actually
and
the same
distribution?
thing.
So they're the same thing, right?
The state has been calling it retail. Local cities, for some reason, call it dispensaries. But they're the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Thank you for all this information. I think for me, what's going to be a priority is understanding the sentiment from our community and how they support, an initiative like this. So what has been effective for you in engaging community in other jurisdictions?
I think you already said in your question is education.
How? What? Like what?
I'll
how?
explain. There's a lot of information, and I think it's very prudent of me to expect anyone to understand it overnight. We've worked with programs with certain cities and actually just set up a day where we're doing a workshop about the way the industry works, the way we operate. This is obviously if it's allowed from the city to give us the time and the space to do that. Because they've always wanted to be on a city property. So yeah, it's our job to educate not only the citizens, the community, but also, not only to educate the community, but also the people who will be enforcing the ordinance that's in place.
How much time have you dedicated to that in the past? Or workshops? I would imagine there's going to be more than one.
Oh yeah, of course. It's really as much as the city will allow us to, because it's beneficial for the business if the citizens understand what's going on, because it creates a safer environment for the business to go on. Because there's been cities where there were protests against it just because they weren't aware of it, and we've seen after these evenings and Saturday afternoons were allocated to actually present and let the community understand what they were doing. That took a complete 180 turn, just because we took the time to explain to them, and they were kind enough to listen.
All right, just want to say real quick. In the 70s, I used to wear a shirt that I just found in a box that says 1976 with that zigzag. Do they still sell that? The extra stuff? Okay, I just found it in my garage. Not that I ever inhaled anything or smoked anything, but it was popular in the 70s. All right, so first of all, I want to thank you for being here, educating us on this. Of course, this is going to go on. I know that Councilmember Cruz Baca and also Vice Mayor Susan Rubio had suggested that we obviously involve the community, so that's what we're going to do. That would probably be our next stage to get in the input. Of course, I think that would be beneficial specifically for this type of money that comes in. I mean, we're no different than any other city, and we're looking for potential revenue to be able to pay the good jobs that we provide from every aspect of of City Hall. So we look forward in having you back and give your presentations to the general public as well.
Yes, thank you for your time. We look forward to
Thank
doing
you.
that. And if any people from the community would like a little more info, they could reach us at info@panaceacenters.com.
Can you leave your
You have a
cards
business
here?
card? Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Business
can you
cards?
give the
Yes,
information
yeah,
to our
no
city
problem.
clerk?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for your patience. I know you
Thank
guys
you.
waited a long time.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry
you.
about that. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead and open up the, go to consent calendar. We have items 1 through, 1 through 8. Council members wishing to pull any item?
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilman Ricardo Pacheco. I'll second. Any objections? See none, so move. All righty, so at this point, we'll go over to item 9, which is the public hearing, the fiscal year 2017-18 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and Home Investment Partnership Fund, Home Annual Action Plan. So, hey, Susie Reales, come on up. Long time no see, girl.
Yeah, can we bring that back?
You want to bring it? Is this urgent?
Actually, it's not, because HUD hasn't announced the budget yet. We can't submit it. We can bring it back if you want to.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know, I mean, we still could open the public hearing though.
Yeah, why don't I do that? All right, excellent presentation, by the way. All right, so at this point, I'd like to open up, good night. I'd like to open up the public hearing, so anyone wishing to speak in support? Okay. All right, so at this point, anyone else wishing to speak in favor? See no interest, we're going to go ahead and carry this over to the next meeting. All right, thank you very much.
Mayor, while
Yes,
you do
Council.
that, I just want to say, and I should have done this at the beginning of the council meeting, and I want to thank Susie Ruelas and staff
Yes.
for a wonderful, I attended Rose Luna's retirement party last Thursday. It was a lot of fun, lots of good food, lots of camaraderie. It was really, really nice. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you. All right, thank you very much. At this point, we're going over to the reports of officers, item 10, which is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park, confirming the advisory committee's report and leaving the levying assessment in the Baldwin Park Citywide Assessment District fiscal year 2017 and 18. Council members? This is just reports of officer, or do we have to pass a motion?
Is anybody reporting on it?
This was presented 2 weeks ago, and there was a request to come back with an alternative.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's move it. Let's move to the next meeting, okay? I'll make a motion to move it.
Excuse me, is there a deadline, or is this time sensitive?
Is there?
I believe
Rose?
we can move it one more meeting, correct,
All right,
Rose?
so let's do that. All righty.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to move it. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. Item 11 is the directions approval of the design for the Baldwin Park Transit Bus Wrap and selections of the Baldwin Park Commuter Connector Express Line Transit Bus Model. Do you guys want to move that over?
Yeah, move it.
Or move it over? All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and move for adjournment of the City Council.
No, there's
Oh,
12.
12? Thanks,
The 4th
legal
of July.
counsel. We're going to go ahead and move this 4th of July for the following meeting as well. All right, that's my motion. Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the City Council.
Second.
All right, at this point, good evening, Viva Baldwin Park.
Anything to recycle?
I know, right?
Okay.